Hello there. Dr. Bill Crawford here, psychologist, speaker, author of 8 books, host of 2 PBS specials, here again to bring you another tip on how to help you create the life you want. Specifically, how to use my life from the top of the mind philosophy to bring more clarity, confidence, creativity into everything you do. Today, I want to look at a quote that I'm sending out to those 6,000 folks on my quote list. By the way, if you would like to receive one of my favorite quotes each week, all you got to do is go to my website, billcrawfordphd.com, or just Google Bill Crawford PhD. I'll come up on the first page. Hit the subscribe button, put your name, email address in. It's free. And each week I will send you one of my favorite quotes along with 2 or 3 paragraphs about how to apply this quote to life. This quote is from one of my favorite authors, Richard Bach. He wrote Jonathan Livingston Seagull, Illusions, great stuff. It talks about how to use what we find valuable, powerful ideas that we come across. So he says this: any powerful idea is absolutely fabulous and absolutely useless until we choose to use it. I think that's an important component because I think we all come across powerful ideas on a regular basis. Maybe we'll read it, maybe we'll hear it on a podcast, maybe we'll hear a speaker, whatever. And I think in many ways we hear things, we go, ooh, yeah, wow, I like that. That really resonates with you. I really like that. The problem is if we leave it there, just a nice idea or even a powerful idea, and we don't bring it into our life, have you noticed how life kind of gets in the way pretty soon? It kind of all of a sudden has us forgetting what we heard and back to just kind of checking things off our list. You may have heard there are basically 3 levels of creation: thought, word, and deed. Having a thought is nice because until we have the thought, we can't really do anything with it. But then kind of speaking about it, talking about it, bringing it to life through how we frame it to others and how we talk about it to ourselves, and then that deed, actually doing something about it. Because behavior validates belief. If we have a good idea, but we don't do anything with it, we've basically said, well, maybe it's not that useful because we didn't use it. See, that behavior validated a belief that we really didn't mean to validate. On the other hand, if we take a powerful idea and start to apply it into our life, that behavior validates the belief that this is indeed powerful, this is indeed meaningful. So when I'm teaching my life from the top of the mind philosophy, when I go around the country teaching this, what I try to do is not only give people good information, but give them models that they can use immediately in their life. The first part of the book is all about how to understand how the brain works. You know, for those of you who follow my life from the top of the mind philosophy, you know, we got these 3 parts of the brain: brainstem, limbic system, neocortex. Brainstem is the fight or flight. Neocortex, this upper 80% of the brain, is what I call the top of the mind. This is where we have access to our clarity, confidence, creativity, compassion. And this middle brain, the limbic system, is kind of the scanner, processor, router part of the brain. It scans the environment and then interprets data and then routes it either down to the brainstem or up to the neocortex. And unfortunately, it's not very smart, and it's working with old software. So it has a tendency to interpret almost anything negative as dangerous and throws us into the part of the brain that's designed to deal with danger. Because see, its mission on the planet is to keep us alive as a species. So it's been used to kind of interpreting negative data more intensely than positive data and throwing us into that reactive brain. That's why it's so easy to get stressed and frustrated and angry, annoyed and overwhelmed, etc. So what we want to do is to recognize how this brain is processing information if we just let it run its own course and become more purposeful, more powerful, more influential in the process. So as we can raise our level of awareness of what part of the brain we're in, you know, am I feeling stressed, angry, frustrated? That means I'm in the lower brain. Or am I feeling clear, confident, creative, and compassionate? That means I'm in the upper brain. So that way we kind of know which thoughts to trust and which ones to use to guide our thinking and our behavior. Now, knowing it is one thing, bringing it to life is another. So in my book, I have a model that actually spells brain that shows people a behavioral model, something to do that actually will show you how to shift from this lower brain up into the upper 80% of the brain so we have access to those thoughts and abilities. And now we are coming from this clear, confident, creative part of who we are. That's good. The second part of the book, however, has a model that spells power. It's about all of us becoming more powerful, more influential in our life and in the lives of others by really making this upper 80% of the brain, this clear, confident, creative part of who we are, our default position, making coming from this upper 80% of the brain a habit. So that is really about us rewiring the brain. You've heard the phrase or the term neuroplasticity. It means the brain is always rewiring itself. So I teach people how to rewire their brain by using this second model and actually beginning to practice bringing this to life. Because frankly, anything we practice, we get good at because the practice is actually creating new neural pathways. It's bringing certain neural pathways to life in a way that allows us to really access our best on a regular basis and have this new neural pathway to the top of the mind become a new habit. So that's the bringing it to life. I encourage people to start in the morning, wake up, and choose 2 or 3 qualities or characteristics of you at your best. You know, who are you when you're coming from the top of the mind? What would you recommend to someone you love? And actually go into the morning practicing being that way. Because that has us going into life already in the top of the mind, which means our best thinking and our best interpersonal skills and our ability to respond versus react to life is at our disposal. You know, you've heard the idea of us reacting kind of the way we have in the past. So that's reacting. Responding comes from the Latin spondere. It means to pledge, to sponsor. So what we want to do is decide what are the qualities and characteristics I'm pledging and sponsoring and bringing to life. And then know who we are when we're being that way and practice being that way in the morning. Then around lunchtime, we reboot so that we go into the afternoon practicing that. Rebooting, you do the brain model, you say a prayer, you take some deep breaths, you do something that creates a moment of clarity, moment of serenity, and ask that question, what are the qualities and characteristics I want to bring into the afternoon? What would I recommend to someone I love? Do the same thing between the afternoon and the evening, and that has us pausing at least 3 times of the day and purposefully bringing our best to life. That starts to become a new habit, and that is the choosing to use the powerful ideas that we are finding valuable. I'm hoping you're going to be able to choose to use what you found valuable in this video. My goal, my mission on the planet is to bring you information about how the brain processes information and how you can become more influential in the process. I do that in my book, I do that in my seminars. And by the way, just so that you know, my book is now on Audible. So for those of you who like to listen versus read or just hear it again and again, feel free to go to Audible, search for Life from the Top of the Mind. So that's my mission on the planet. I do it in my virtual sessions nowadays since I'm kind of stuck here at home with COVID. But I love to come and also do this with your organization, your school, your family. Starting to work with families now, especially family businesses, because I'm recognizing how often something said in a normal setting, when it's said in a family setting, goes a whole lot deeper and can get in the way of us being the kind of family we would want to transfer or the legacy we want to give to our kids. Kind of gets in the way of that. So I help people with that as well. If any of this sounds meaningful to you, something you want to bring into your life and use, I would encourage you to begin to do that. Because as Richard Bach says, any powerful idea is absolutely fascinating and absolutely useless unless we choose to use it. We make purposeful choices from this upper 80% of the brain, and we use what we find valuable by bringing it to life. Hopefully this is meaningful to you. If so, I encourage you to subscribe. By the way, I kind of post these videos each week on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Pinterest, on iTunes. So feel free to subscribe in any of those social medias and you'll get one of these each week, as well as if you'd like to be part of my mailing list, feel free to do that as well. So in the meantime, I'm hoping you're enjoying these videos, and here's to you, bringing more clarity, confidence, creativity into everything you do. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the future.